All right, welcome back, everybody. We got to talk about the United States winning that first gold medal in 46 years in the Olympics over Canada. I'm going to go over here and look at and review Zach's two posts that are completely wrong. There's so many mistakes in there. I'll correct those at the end of this video, so stick around for that. I'll show you what this is really about, not Zach trying desperately to connect everything to the Catholic Church and Donald Trump. Watching Zach, I can't tell if I'm watching MSNBC, CNN, the Young Turks, or Gematria Effect News. So anyway, I'll show you what this is really about. And I had a couple of thoughts before the tournament began. I thought, okay, we know it's on the 46-year anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. And I said, okay, it's going to come either against Sweden, which is the plus 46 international dialing code, or it's going to come against Canada, because we know about Canada in 46, right? If you remember back to this, you guys remember this? I put this out on my Patreon. We talked about, which wasn't a great payout, and I do bet on my own picks, and I'll show you this in a second. But the Canada doesn't pay a whole lot for hockey futures, but we talked about this in 2022. Remember, this was the first World Junior Championship post COVID-19. It was the 46th World Junior Championship. Remember, Hockey Canada's 46. Canada won their 19th gold medal in the first World Juniors post COVID-19. They won their first tournament in 137 weeks over Finland, which is the 33rd prime number. Yeah, Canada won gold 67 days before coronavirus was declared a global pandemic. That was back in 2019. We know hockey's Wuhan 67, hockey 67. Remember, the NHL expansion happened in 67. Gary Bruce Bettman sums to 67. Frederick Stanley, who the Stanley Cup is named after, he died at age 67. So, yeah, I remember the word virus is 89. Omicron variant, which was a thing, that was 89. Remember, 89 is the 24th prime number. Everything about Canada is 24. Canada 24. I remember the World Junior Ice Hockey Championships. Remember, they began August 9th, and Canada won the gold on August 20th, 2022. The winning goal was scored by Kent Johnson. Remember that called Hockey Canada about this? Remember, said Hockey Canada paid out $8.9 million in sexual abuse settlements, which was for the first time since '89. And then they went on to win the World Junior Championship 89 days after the fucking assault came out, after they paid the assault settlement. It's like, oh my God. Anyway, getting back to the United States here, I'm going to show you how this is all connected with the Four Nations face-off as well as the 1991 Canada Cup. So, the U.S. wins the gold medal. And remember, for the Super Bowl, I put out 3 picks. Now, I know Zach, I think he hit 5 of 21 prop bets, and then he missed the winner. He's probably going to tell you he told people, even if you watch Sports Gematria's video where Zach said in like week 9, they're not going to the Super Bowl, Seattle, please. It's absolutely hilarious. Be thankful every day you're not from the Pacific Northwest and that you didn't go to college, because you don't want to be one of those emasculated liberal shitfucks. Learn how to take accountability. It's the number one masculine trait. So I put out 3 picks. I was like, okay, in case that, even though the Patriots seemed like frauds, it's like, yeah, you can't really fade that 41. So we knew Crystal Palace had a great shot to upset Brighton, which they did. They paid 2-1. They paid over 2-1, and we thought Manchester City had a great chance to beat Liverpool. And the reason for that was these games were both on the date of the Super Bowl as well. And Crystal Palace got their 41st win over Brighton all time. They were red, white, and blue like the Patriots. Manchester City and Liverpool got the red, white, and blue as well. And so Crystal Palace gets the 41st win over Brighton, Super Bowl 41. And then, of course, Manchester City, they got their 51st points, like Super Bowl LX sums to 50. So we thought there was a good chance that happens. I let this go. I cashed this out. I let this go until it was 12-0 when that sack fumble happened. And I was like, okay, cash out. Give me my $86. And then before the tournament began on February 17th, I put the money on the U.S. to win the tournament. I didn't put this out on the Patreon, and I probably should have. In hindsight, it's always 2020. I'm going to show you one caveat, though, that made me reluctant to do that. But I said I'm going to take that $86 and I'm going to put it on the U.S. to win the Olympic gold medal. So the U.S. does it. on the 46-year anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. They do it in overtime. Overtime's 46. Again, like I said, Hockey Canada's 46. That was what I said. I'm like, if the U.S. wins it, it's either going to come over Sweden, which is the plus 46 international dialing code, or it's going to come against Canada. Now, Canada and the U.S. were far and away the favorites in the tournament, so you can't be surprised that this ended up being the final. And, of course, the U.S. beat Sweden as well in the quarterfinals on their way to do this. So, of course, February 22nd is George Washington's birthday. And from the date George Washington died to the gold medal game is 70 days. And the Americans won the game on the 70th shot of the game, right? Canada had 42. The USA had 28. 28 reminds you of the date of the Super Bowl, 2/8 or 8/2. So notice George Washington sums to 88. Of course, Trump is also 88. And USA Hockey is 88 years old right now. They'll turn 89 on October 29th, 2026. So Jack Hughes won the game on the United States 28th shot. As I said, that reminds you of the Super Bowl that was on 2/8, won by the team from Washington State. The Washington State, of course, is named after George Washington. And this game was played 15 days after the Super Bowl, like how Canada sums to 15. And then in 2023, we thought Canada would win the World Junior Championship again because, of course, it was the 47th World Juniors, and 47th is the 15th prime. We said Hockey Canada, they're probably going to win their second gold medal in the World Juniors within a calendar year, which is also exactly what happened. So if you know your history, you'll know that the United States, despite the fact that they actually won the gold medal February 24th with a 4-2 victory over Finland, they won the game against the Soviets, the semifinal game, which was the game everybody remembers. They won that game 4-3 over the Soviet Union, which, again, the Soviets being a communist dictatorship, who would have thought we would have been celebrating? We would have been seeing America and Canada's future, right? But anyway, Mariners is 43, Seattle Kraken is 43, and Seattle Seahawks is 43. Like the Seahawks won their first ever Super Bowl with 43 points. The word golden goal is also 43 in gematria. And here's another interesting piece, right? This game came 233 days after America's 249th birthday. Again, 233 is the 51st prime number. Hockey Canada sums to 233. And remember, that should remind you of Donald Trump calling Canada the 51st state, which was an obvious tribute to the Four Nations final, which was on the 51st day of the year. And of course, Megyn Kelly, who won the gold medal for the women, the American women, both the American women and American men both beat Canada 2-1 to win the gold medal. Notice Jack Hughes, his name's 51. Megyn Kelly was born on 5/1. The communism is 51. The Soviets were a communist state, and the United States and Canada are getting there. The word far right is 51. State of Israel is 51. Tinfoil hat is 51. I say that because Jack Hughes is Jewish. And of course, from the date of the gold medal game to USA Hockey's 89th birthday is exactly 249 days. And again, notice how Lake Placid is 74. That's where the Americans won the Miracle on Ice and the gold medal 46 years ago. Jewish is 74. George Washington, 74. There's a whole lot more to that 74 list. Of course, Independence Day is 74. The U.S. celebrates our independence on 7/4. So Jack Hughes, he, of course, scored the goal 169 days before USA Hockey was established. Again, Hughes is Jewish. He has Israel's birthday. That's Israel's birthday, May 14th. And, of course, it's 169 days to Hockey Canada's birthday. We know Seattle Seahawks is 169. So is Sam Darnold, the quarterback of the Seahawks. So Hughes' birthday comes on the 82nd day following the gold medal game. Of course, the Super Bowl was on a date that's written 8/2. New England Patriots is 82, who lost to the Seahawks in the Super Bowl with 42 combined points. Washington, the 42nd state. The U.S. won the gold medal over Finland in 1980 on February 24th by the final score of 4-2. So you see how this all comes together? So it was supposedly Trump's tariff policy, right, that got everybody in North America riled up, when in reality, it was just a tribute to the 1991 Canada Cup. because in 1991, Canada beat the United States in the Canada Cup final, which was a best on best tournament. The reason, for context, for those of you that don't know, the reason that the Canada Cup was such a big deal, which was later renamed the World Cup of Hockey in 96, which was won by the United States, was because it was a best on best tournament. And the Olympics until 1998 did not allow NHL players. That's why the Canada Cup was such a big deal. The NHL players came in 1998 and remained until 2018, where they were not in the 2018 or 2022 Olympics. They returned for 2026. And the word tariffs is 34, like how 34 years before 2025, Canada beat the United States in the 91 Canada Cup. And of course, they went on to beat them in the Four Nations face-off. And then the United States returned the favor against Canada in the 2026 Olympics. So, notice how Hockey Canada sums to 91, right? Megan Keller wears the number 5. Jack Hughes wears the number 86. Added up, 5 plus 86, 91. 91 is the 13th triangular number. This is a tribute to Johnny Gaudreau, who, of course, wore the number 13 for the Americans. Would have been a part of the team. You know, they had the ceremony with Matthew Tkachuk and Austin Matthews, and the Brady Tkachuk carrying Gaudreau's jersey, which was, a nice gesture after the game. But Canada Cup is 28, right? Again, reminding us of the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, the Four Nations face-off, the Olympics, and the 91 Canada Cup all connected together. So the United States, they only won their 5th game all-time versus Canada in the Olympics. Of course, this was the 20th game all-time. The word gold sums to 20, the 20th game all-time between the U.S. and Canada. And notice this game was 367 days after the Four Nations face-off, and 367 is the 73rd prime number. Miracle on Ice is 73. Jack Rowden Hughes, his full name is 73. Now, the one caveat to this, let me pull it up. Where's it at here? USA Hockey all-time record versus opponents. This is the all-time Olympic record, right? And this is not including this year, but the U.S. did not lose. They went a perfect 6-0. But the one thing was the fact that the U.S. had 45 total losses. And I was thinking, I never fully trust the Americans in these tournaments, because it's like, America gets their heart ripped out so many times in these finals, right? From the 91 Canada Cup to 2010 Olympics to the 2014, quarterfinal or semifinals, to the Four Nations face-off. It happens a lot. Now, the U.S. did lose more than this. They had lost twice in overtime. So if you do count the overtime losses, technically they had 47, but I was like, that 46 was the one caveat where I was like, man, it's a little bit tricky there. But anyway, let's take a look at Zach, who I'm sure Zach got bet on this, right? That's sarcasm for you mentally slow people out there. Zach, I'm sure, just takes all the truth seekers' money and then buys millions of properties to try to make himself equivalent to Bill Gates and Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the very people he claims to hate. So he titles it, USA wins first medal at the Olympics in 16 years, which is true. Their first medal in 16 years, not gold medal. So at least he got the title right. But is looking for its first medal since 2016. Gold is 16. Okay, I mean, that really doesn't tell us anything. So he's somehow connecting this to the 49ers winning Super Bowl 16. Yeah, Make America Great, 134. Yeah, so it was the May 5th, 15th, 14th, Jack Hughes' birthday. I mean, we're really going to connect this to the 49ers and the goal. After everything I just showed, this is what you're connecting it to. Isn't this exactly what Zach made fun of Derek for? I mean, yes, AU is gold. It's the 79th atomic number. It's 112 days before Donald Trump's Catholicism. Well, he really tries to reach to blame it on the Christians, right? Sheesh. Trump's upcoming 80th birthday in tribute to, I mean, I guess has a hell of a lot more to do with the Four Nations face-off and the 1980 Miracle on Ice than it does about Donald Trump. Okay. Man killed at Mar-a-Lago as USA wins the hockey gold medal. Let's see what else he talks about here. The 80th meridian, 26th parallel. I'm still not seeing anything about the Miracle on Ice. I'm not seeing anything about Hockey Canada equaling 46. The word Catholic is 46. JFK, the first Catholic president, got his head blown off at 86. At least he talks about gold equaling 70, but today it's 70 date numerology, but you don't talk about how it's won on George Washington's birthday, and 70 days after he dies, the U.S. wins gold on the 70th shot of the game. I don't know, man. Am I doing too much? Maybe I'm putting out too much. Okay, Make America Great Again 134. I mean, you could have talked about how the state of Israel, you could have talked about how he's Jewish. His name's 51. I mentioned that. Trump saying he'll make Canada the 51st state. But I don't see you talking about the tariffs and the 91 Canada Cup final and the Four Nations face-off being 367 days after or 367 days before the Olympics, or the fact that, that's the 73rd prime and Jack Hughes' full name is 73 and the Four Nations face-off was on the 51st day of the year. Canada fell to 5-1 in the tournament. Sure. The U.S. women beat Canada in the gold. No, the U.S. women beat Canada 2-1 in the gold medal game. I don't know, man. The Mar-a-Lago rate on 8-8. Yeah, a lot of Donald Trump in 88. 1-2. Dude, you missed like the entire ritual. You missed like the. No, he does bring up George Washington. Oh, two. Two. I still don't see how you're bringing this up, and you're not mentioning how it's 70 days after the anniversary of his death, and the Americans win it on the 70th shot of the game. Oh man. So from Trump's birthday is 205th, 22nd prime. Yeah, stuff like this is cherry picking, man. I mean, the gematria critics, you're just validating that they're right. Winter Olympics is 201. Jesuit orders 201. So is the state of Israel. So, guys, I guess it's actually the Jews who run everything then, right? A Jew scored the winning goal. Zach will just. The reason I make that joke is because Zach used to blame everything on Jews. Now he blames everything on Christians. OTU. I don't see how you're not saying how the word overtime is 46. Or how the first Catholic president got his head blown off at age 46. Hockey Canada, 46. First gold medal in 46 years. I guess he sort of brings it up. Now we're going to connect it to Chicago. Oh, why? Because, let me guess, because the Pope is from Chicago? We're going to somehow connect it to the Pope? Jack O'Callahan from Chicago, yep. I don't know, man. Anyway, guys, we'll have our Stanley Cup live stream again in April. NHL season's about to get rolling, and maybe I'll do some recaps of Zach's NHL picks since he claims to go 12-0 every night. We'll see. I can tell you this, he's already wrong on half his picks because he tells you to bet the underdog to cover in every game. So we shall see. Anyway, guys and gals, we'll leave it there. Until next time.